just a moment, we're going to start the funeral services of Mr. Michael B. Rosenberg, and Rabbi James Gordon is going to be officiating. In just a moment, the rabbi is going to perform the ancient ceremony of Kriya, and with his sons and his brother. And then we'll begin the sacred funeral ceremony. For those of you who are here, please take a moment to be sure that your cell phones have been turned off. For those of you who are speaking, please keep in mind that please speak into the microphone. The family requested that we record the service, and the only way we can get the volume is through the microphone.
I guess with the hugs, the ribbon came.
It's on your shirt. It's on your right side. Brothers on the right, children on the left. Also, ladies and gentlemen, there are seats here. Please take advantage of them. There are blankets. Boris will wrap you up. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we're going to begin the ceremony.
Going to begin by reading a series of Psalms by King David, beginning with Psalm 1. Ashrei ha'ish asher lo halach bi'atzat reshaim, uvderech hata'im lo amad, uvmoshav leitzim lo yashav, ki im b'torat Adonai chavtso, uvtorato yegeh yomam v'layla. V'haya ke'et shatul al palgei mayim, asher piryo yitain bi'ito, v'alehu lo yibol, v'chol asher ya'aseh yatzliach. Lochein harishaim kim kamotz, asher tidfenu ruach. Al kein lo yakumu rishaim ba'mishpat, v'chataim ba'adat tzadikim, ki odeh Adonai derech tzadikim, v'derech rishaim toved. Psalm 1, happy is the man who has not followed the counsel of the wicked, nor stood in the path of sinners, nor sat in the company of the scornful. Rather, that one's delight is in the Torah of the Lord, meditating in God's Torah day and night. And he will be like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in season, whose leaves will not wither, and whatever that one does prospers. Not so the wicked, who are like chaff that the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked shall not survive judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord loves the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked is doomed. Tehillim Tedvav, Psalm 15. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai mi yagur bio halecha, mi yishkon behar kodshacha, holech tamim ufoel tzedek v'dover amet bilvavo, lo ragal al lishono, lo asal re'ehu ra'a v'cherpa, lo nasal al krovo. Nivza be'inav nimas v'ed yirei Adonai yechabed, nishpa leharav lo yamir, kaspo lo natan b'neshach, v'shochad al nakilo lakach, Ose Ela lo yimot leolam. Psalm 15, a song of David. Lord, who may sojourn in your tent, Who may dwell on your holy mountain? One who walks in purity, does what is righteous, and speaks the truth from the heart. Who has no slander on the tongue, nor has done harm to a fellow, nor cast disgrace toward a neighbor, in whose eyes a contemptible person is repulsive, but who honors those who are in awe of the Lord, who swears truthfully even to personal hurt, and never retracts, who does not lend money on interest, nor takes a bribe against the innocent. One who does these things shall never falter. Tehillim Chaf Gimel, Psalm 23. I'll read the Hebrew and then invite all those who would like to join me in the English, which you'll find in the inside of the pamphlets. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai ro'i lo echsar, bin odesha yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot yenahaleni. Nafshi yeshovev yancheni v'maglei tzedek leman shemo. Gam ki elech begeit salmavet lo irara ki ata imadi. Shiftecha u'mishantecha hema yenachamuni. Taroch lefanai shulchan neged sorarai. Dishanta v'shemen roshi kosi revaya. Achto v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai. V'shafti b'veit Adonai li'orech yamim. Please join with me the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the I'm now going to call upon members of the immediate family to share some memories of their beloved brother and father. First, we'd like to call upon Jay.
Thank you. Thank you for all coming. This man was 72 years old. Diagnosed with MS at 35. And, you know, we make no illusions that this maybe should have happened years ago, right? We couldn't live like this, but he could, and he wanted to. He wanted to live. You know, my brother battled many life's experiences before MS that would make your head spin. There's things that I know that nobody will know except me. But some way, somehow, through the ebb and the flow of his life, there's this bright light that shined through him in all the battles. You know, you can always compare it to my brother's demeanor as childlike. You know, with a child scrapes his knee, and within seconds you can divert and put him in a different mindset direction. My brother was similar. I could be sitting with him bedside, and he could be in a solemn situation and mood, and all of a sudden, if I bring up something on YouTube with comedy, it would just turn him in a bright direction. He was the sweetest, kind, gentle, loving soul that I had the pleasure and the honor of having him as my brother. You know, we all love to laugh. However, when my brother laughed, you know, it was different. You know, it's a human emotion that very few emotions that run through us is better than laughter. But when this man laughed, it came from the bottom of his ass to his ears. It was truly amazing. There's times where he laughed so hard he couldn't breathe. You know, I always wonder, because the body was broken, the laughter was maybe heightened with Michael. It was just such joy making him laugh. True, pure, unadulterated. You know, Michael was an athlete. He played baseball. We played football together. He was an amazing swimmer, competing in high school and college. Try doing a butterfly for one lap, let alone 8. Michael coached my football team when we were kids, and when we played just 4 games against other communities. But he remembered the stats of those games and what players did what. His memory was just amazing, just amazing. His long-term memory, and when I would say to him, do you remember when, his go-to line was always, oh God, yeah. Oh God, yeah. You know, I had a childhood friend that his mother had MS, and I witnessed what my family's mom went through. So when Michael was diagnosed in his mid-30s, he came over to my house with Gail, and he told me his misfortune, and I cried. He was more worried about me than he was for himself. He ran 7 to 10 miles a day until he couldn't. He continued to swim until he didn't, and he couldn't. He used a walker until he couldn't, a motorized scooter until he couldn't, a wheelchair until he couldn't. It's an insidious disease. And he had the worst of it. A slow, miserable death that a man with so much love in his heart, who couldn't do anything anymore for himself. He went from a very talented athlete to a quadriplegic. But some would say in this room, how would you manage it? How do you manage this type of disease when he was knocking him back? But again, he had this bright light for all of us to see. How do you not complain? How do you not say, why me? He had this unmatched moral character. A remarkable man, a remarkable loving brother. We spoke no less than 3 times a week. And at the end of our conversation, I would say, I love you. I love you too, bro. Rest in peace. He's gonna rest in peace now.
Scott.
I've been asked a few times since I got here this afternoon how I feel. There's no words. All I can say is, Dad, I love you. I remember when I was a kid, when we were kids, he was very, he taught me about competition. Made me love it. He taught me to love it. I loved bowling. He taught me to bowl. I remember his way of coaching. I think he did this to my brother at one time. He was having a hard time bowling. My dad went up to him and told him an Andrew Dice Clay joke, and that I think his game turned right around. We used to have a pin set of bowling in the basement. He bowled us down there. We did a lot down there. He did a lot down there with us. I do apologize. I really don't know what else to say. I didn't come with a speech. Well, he gets to celebrate a new life without any suffering, any pain, and he's watching over us from here on. I remember when I heard the day he finally passed, I was actually starting a walk that day, and that was before I found out he was gone. I started talking out loud to him. As if he was walking right next to me, and when I got home, I found out he did pass, and I do believe he was walking with me when I was talking. I love you, Dad.
Sean.
My dad was one of the most generous, caring, wonderful people I've ever known in my life. As much as you play it in your head as far as what you want to say, nothing ever comes easily when it comes to something like this. All I can say is that I grew up with a dad that, in some ways, that I couldn't experience with the athleticism, playing catch and all that, but I got so much more. I got a dad that would coach, that would put cones in the driveway and teach me to dribble right and left hands. I learned how to play chess by watching Dad and Scott play. And then I actually beat him in 4 moves one time, and he called me a little. Well, you get the point. And he was just in shock. He just kept looking at the chessboard for like 3 minutes. What in the world did you do? Uncle Jay mentioned Dad was a flyer, and I was not nearly as good as him, but I did the butterfly in high school as well, and man, just the short term, just doing as much as I couldn't imagine I couldn't imagine it, how fast he did. He told me a story when I think he tried out for the Olympics, and he was next to, if I'm mistaken, I apologize, but I think he tried out and he was next to Mark Spitz or something like that. And he's like, yeah, I was on the starting block and the gun went off and I never saw him again. And just, that was the kind of, he made a light out of everything. There was always a silver lining. And Scott was right. I was having a bad day bowling one time, and he comes up and tells me about Little Miss Muffet and Andrew Dice Clay joke. I know that when I graduated,
high school and I went away to college, he was so proud when I graduated. I know he wanted to be there. He was with me. He was in my heart. He may not have been physically in the building, but he was there. When I got married with my wonderful wife, he was there. And he will always be here.
When I meet with families to prepare for the funeral service, even when I know the person, as I did Michael quite well and for many years, there are always many things that I learned that's very important for me to even better understand the person. And I always tell the family, don't worry, share with me everything you would like to, because I want to learn more. And don't worry, I'm not going to preempt you because I speak last. And if anybody is repetitive, it'll be me. So you'll have to excuse me as while I present my insights into Michael and what we remember him best for. I'm going to be editing along the way because a lot that was shared with me yesterday was shared here, which is what we want to hear directly from the heart, directly from the people who had these life experiences with Michael. On Shabbat afternoons, especially between Passover, which is coming very soon, and Shavuot, many people have the tradition of studying the Talmudic tractate known as Pirkei Avot, Ethics of Our Fathers. There are many passages, Mishnayot and Pirkei Avot, that are relevant to the life that was led by Michael. Here's one of them. It's a series of 4 rhetorical questions posed and answered by the sage Ben Soma. He first asks, Ezehu Chacham, who is considered to be a wise person? Halomed Mikol Adam, somebody who learns from every person. Ezehu Gibor, who is considered to be a mighty person? Hakovesh et Yitzro, someone who subdued his evil inclination. Third question, Ezehu Ashir, who is a wealthy person? Hasameach bechalko, somebody who is happy in his own lot in life. Finally, Ezehu Mechubad, who is an honorable person? Hamechabed et habriot, someone who honors all others. All 4 of these midot, of these character traits, really were lived by Michael. As you've already heard, you can apply it too. Ezehu Chacham, who is a wise person, Halomed Mikol Adam, someone who learns from every person. Michael, as we've heard and as we know, was a very bright, smart, and wise man who learned from every person and situation that he encountered in life. After graduating from Von Steuben High School, Michael studied a variety of disciplines at Northern Illinois University, eventually pursuing a career in marketing. A lifelong student, a learner, Michael enjoyed learning even more about such subjects including history, music, Jewish tradition, entertainment, and of course, sports. In his room at the Symphony, with the help from his family, Michael assembled what I would consider an impressive library of books and recordings, enabling him to pursue his interests. He also was introduced to a new friend, Alexa, who helped Michael navigate his choices of music and other interests. Michael engaged with other residents at Symphony as much as he was able, and became close with many staff members, including nurses, CNAs, activity aides, our administrators, including Mrs. Melissa Dominowski, who is here to honor Michael's memory today, and me. During his first year stay at Symphony, during his I wrote 1-5T, it looks like first, but during his 15-plus year stay at Symphony, Michael outlived many roommates, and they were all much stronger than he was when they came. His closest roommate was a man named Kurt, who loved Michael and always looked out for his welfare, Unfortunately, Kurt passed away about 1.5 years ago. A very friendly, warm man, Michael learned from listening and observing and then imparting knowledge to others. While Michael learned from others, we in turn learned so much from him. Ezehu Gibor, who is a mighty, who is a strong person, Hakovesh et Yitzro, he who subdues his evil inclination. Michael, as we see, he truly was a Gibor, a man who possessed great might. Throughout his life, as we've heard, Michael pushed himself to maximize his physical and mental strength. Before falling ill, some 35 or so years ago, as we've heard, he was a gifted athlete who enjoyed playing and also watching many sports too. We've already heard how he was a champion swimmer, a runner, and a great bowler, how he enjoyed playing football, baseball, coaching bowling, coaching football. One thing that was pointed out to me by Scott was that Michael even bowled when he was using a cane. Okay, that he did, as we heard really from Jay, he competed in all of these sports until he no longer could physically or mentally do it. I first met Michael in about 1985 when I became the rabbi of Or Chadash, which was a traditional synagogue in Hoffman Estates, where the Rosenbergs were members. And if I look back in years, that's about the same time that Michael was diagnosed, right around that time. And, didn't have any impression on me at that time. After a 15-plus year hiatus, we reconnected in about 2005 when Michael moved to what was then known as the Claremont, now known as Symphony. At that time, he was confined to a wheelchair, but still was quite ambulatory, getting around the facility on his own. In addition to Judaism, Michael and I shared a strong common bond, being huge sports fans. While he was physically declining over the years, cognitively, Michael remained sharp as a tack. His memory, as we've heard, was unbelievable. Not only did he recall sports, entertainment, Judaic, and historical trivia, but he memorized the Welcome Shabbat service that I run weekly, which he regularly attended, and always had one specific responsive reading. In the last few years or so, making the most of his physical abilities, Michael substituted his one good leg, his one good limb, for his 2 arms and hands. Okay, and good means that he barely could move it, but if he focused his energies and his thought, he could kick a little bit, kick the table. And what Michael would do is we would end this service with the song Shabbat Shalom, and then there would be repeatedly Hey, where people would clap. Unable to clap, Michael then would focus his energy, and instead of clapping, he would give a little kick, and a big smile would light up. Why his one foot? Because that was the only remaining limb that he could move. While Michael lost his ability to play sports, he never lost his enthusiasm as a sports fan and sports historian. From 2008 until 2019, when COVID hit, Michael was a regular participant in a program that I ran known as LHSVS, Lifting the Human Spirit by Visiting the Sick, which had to be suspended in March 2019 when COVID hit. For the first years of this program, Michael would regularly come and participate in the program itself, which was with a group of volunteers and other residents, and then highlighted by a presentation by a sports figure. In more recent years, Michael stayed in bed, and the celebrity sports stars, along with volunteer youth, would visit Michael in his room, and that's a prized possession that I look was a poster of many of the visits coming to Michael and coming to his room. Michael added so much to the success of this program. Ezehu Ashir, who is considered to be a wealthy person, Hasameach Bechalko, someone who is happy or who accepts with a smile his lot in life. And nobody defined that better than Michael. He was extremely wealthy according to this definition, especially proud as we know of his family, whom he loved dearly. The eldest son of Bernard and Ruth, Michael was predeceased by his sister, Dr. Sherry Mizrach, who I did get to meet also, and is survived by his brother Jay, his wife Susan, his brother-in-law Simon, and he remained close. Michael always remained close with his parents and his siblings. Michael, of course, is survived by his son Scott and Sean and his wife Tara, who, as we've heard some of them, of the many wonderful memories they have of their dad. He's also survived by his 3 step-grandchildren, Christopher, Anya, and Ashton. Michael is also remembered by his nephews and nieces, including Charles, Kelly, and Garrett, and his many friends, some of whom were able to come today. A hallmark of Michael's legacy is how, in spite of all the hardship that he faced from his illness, he always radiated a positive, optimistic disposition. Appreciative of the care that he received, he always expressed his gratitude to the staff at Symphony. The only time that I sensed bitterness for Michael was when he first moved to the Claremont. Understandably, he was very angry. After all, he was a young man who now lived with people, most of whom were members of his parents' generation. After a relatively short time, Michael adjusted to what now was his new reality, and going forward exuded his trademark positivity, sense of humor, smile, and laugh. By accepting his new reality and making the most of it, Michael was truly a wealthy man, according to the sage Ben Zoma's definition. Finally, Ezehu Mechubad, who is considered to be an honorable person, HaMechabed et HaBriot, someone who honors all others. Michael was also a man who was honored by others. As noted earlier, he showed honor to people from all walks of life. Michael was a proud Jew. Along with Gail, they made sure that Scott and Sean had a traditional Jewish education and celebrated their becoming bar mitzvah. As I mentioned, I first met the Rosenbergs in the mid-'80s when I served as the rabbi of their shul, or Chadash, and Hoffman Estates. And in fact, I had the honor of helping train Scott and then officiate at his bar mitzvah service. Michael shared with me on many occasions his admiration for Dr. Paul Lang, the educational director at AG Beth Israel, where Michael attended Hebrew school and celebrated his becoming a bar mitzvah. And of course, as noted, for the past 17 or so years, Michael was a regular participant in my weekly Friday morning Welcome Shabbat services, all the way through last Friday, a week ago, where he once again, for the last time, led from memory his regular reading. Michael, my friend, you are missed by so many of us, family, friends, childhood friends, and your many friends at the Symphony of Buffalo Grove. Just going to read a poem in conclusion, the Pizmon, that is the refrain, a poem written by Chaim Nachman Bialik. Acharei moti siptu kachali. It's called After My Death. After I have passed, I want you to eulogize me in the following manner. Haya ish, there was a man, and behold, and see, einenu od, he's no longer here. Kodem zmano meit ha'ish hazeh, before his time, this man passed away. Vishirat chayav bi'emtza nifsaka, and the song of his life ended abruptly in its midst. Vitsar, tsuras, oi, woe. Od mizmor echad hayalo, he still had one more song inside of him. Vine avad hamizmor la'ad, and behold, this song is lost, avad la'ad, lost forever and ever. As Michael's survivors, it is our task to ensure that his legacy continues. One way that we accomplish this goal is by incorporating into our everyday lives the many fine midot, character traits, virtues by which Michael devoted his life. We're now going to have the Aron lowered, and I'm going to recite a few psalms, and afterwards then we're going to give the opportunity for all those who are comfortable and who would like to help fulfill the mitzvah of filling in earth, pouring in earth into the grave. Psalm 121. Shir Lamalot, Esayinai El Harim, Mi'ayin Yavo Ezri, Ezri Mi'im Adonai, Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz, Al Yimot Lamot Raglacha, Al Yanum Shomracha, Hine Lo Yanum Velo Yishan Shomer Yisrael, Adonai Shomracha, Adonai Tzilcha Al Yad Yaminecha, Yomam Hashemesh Lo Yakeka V'yareach Balayla, Adonai Yishmorcha Mikol Ra, Yishmor Nafshecha, Adonai Yishmor Tzeitcha Uvoecha Mi'ata V'yad Olam. Psalm 121, Shir Lamalot, a song of ascents. I lift my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot falter. Your guardian will not slumber. Behold, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian. The Lord is your protection by your right side. By day the sun will not harm you, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all evil. The Lord will guard your life. The Lord will guard your going and coming from now and forever. Psalm 130, Shir Hamalot, Mima Makim Kraticha Adonai, Adonai Shima V'koli, Tiena Oznecha Kashuvot L'kol Tachanunai, Ima Vonot Tishmar Yadonai Mi Yamod, Kimcha Haslicha Leman Tivarei, Kiviti Adonai Kivta Nafshi Velid Varo Hochalti, Nafshi Ladonai Mi Shomrim Laboker, Shomrim Laboker, Yachel Yisrael El Adonai Ki Im Adonai Hachesed V'Arbe Imo Fedut, V'Hu Yifta Et Yisrael Mikol Avonotav. Psalm 130, Shir Hamalot, a song of ascents. Out of the depths I call you, Lord. Lord, listen to my cry. Let your ears be attentive to my supplicative plea. If you preserve the account of sins, God, Lord, who can survive? Pardon resides with you, so that you are held in awe. I hope for the Lord, my soul hopes. I await God's word. I yearn more for the Lord than guards for the morning, guards for the morning. Israel, wait for the Lord, for with the Lord is kindness and great redemption, and it is God who will redeem Israel from all its iniquities. One of the hallmarks, really, of Judaism is how we're supposed to respect each other throughout our own lives. And this includes then after a person has passed away. And this is known as Kvod Hamet, honoring somebody who has passed away. This category, really, of the acts that we do to help fulfill and pay honor is also known as Chesed Shel Emet, which means chesed, kindness, along with truth. And it's considered really one of the highest forms of any type of deed that we can perform, because the beneficiary of it is unable to thank us directly. We are doing this simply because we want to and because it is the right thing. So in a few moments, we're going to again give the opportunity for those who can and those who are comfortable to place soil into the grave, and this is our way of personalizing the kvura, the burial procedure. It's customary to place several, you can do 3, either shovelfuls or from the sand pail shovels there of earth. And instead of handing the shovel to the next person, it's customary to place it back into the mound. In my analysis, really, as an expression of our ambivalence It's so hard for us to do this act, but we know that it is a great mitzvah too. And after we have done as much as we are able, we're then going to ask the cemetery staff to fill the grave in. And we just ask, I know it's very cold, if we can try to stay to the end to ensure the quorum so the mourners can then say the mourner's Kaddish at the very end.
Folks, you can use this as well as that. Folks, come forward. You can use the sand. It's all the same earth. Please come to either side.
Same guy. Everybody's supposed to be
For those of you who wish to come forward, please do so. Otherwise, we're going to have the gentleman from the cemetery close the grave. Ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention, please. In just a moment, the rabbi is going to conclude with the concluding prayers of Kaddish. Then we'll have everyone form a shura, a double aisleway, in which the family will walk through and you may offer words of consolation. Memorial contributions in his memory to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society would be appreciated, and that information is on the service folder. Lastly, we'll have the register book set up by the hearse, so for those of you who have not taken a moment to sign the registry, it'll be there. Ladies and gentlemen, if I kindly ask you to focus your attention on Rabbi Gordon.
I'm going to recite a concluding psalm, and then I'm just going to say the Kaddish along with Jay and with Sean and Scott and anybody else who would like to participate. You'll see the mourner's Kaddish found at the very back side of the pamphlet. I'm going to first recite Psalm 16. Michtam leDavid shamreni el ki chasiki vach. Amart l'Adonai, Adonai ata tovati bal alaka, likdoshim asher ba'aretz hema v'adirei kol chatzivam, yirbu atzvotam, acher maharu bal asik niskehem midam, uval esa et shmotam al sfatai, Adonai minat cholki v'chosi, ata tomich gorali, chavalim naflu li b'ne'imim, af nachalat shafra alai, Avarechet Adonai asher yatzani af leilot yisruni chilyotai. Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid ki mimini bal emot lachen samach libi vayagel kodi. Af besari yishkol mabetach ki lo ta'azov nafshi lishol lo tipen chasika lirot shachat todieni orach chayim sovas machot et panecha nimot bimincha netzach. Therefore my heart rejoices, and my entire being exalts. Also my body will rest secure. For you will not abandon me to the grave, nor will you let your devout one see destruction. You will make known to me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy. There is delight at your right hand for eternity. Going to now conclude with the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, V'alma divrach Yerutei, V'amlich malchutei, V'chayechon, U'v'yomechon, U'v'chayei, V'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, U'v'zman kari, V'yimeru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, Le'olam Ulnei Olmaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtavach, V'pa'ar, V'troman, V'naseh, V'tadar, V'taleh, V'talal, Shemei Dekudisha B'rechu, La'ela Minkol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechamata, Da'amiran V'alma V'meru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'meru, Amen. Oseh Shalom V'ramav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'meru, Amen. God who makes shalom, peace in the godly heights, may God make shalom, peace upon us and upon all Israel, and let us say, Amen. This concludes the burial portion of the service. Now that we've completed that, our attention, our focus now is on the mourners, members of the immediate family, Jay, Scott, and Sean. And as they begin their Shiva period of mourning, it's customary for us to form parallel lines, a shurot, through which they will go through, they will walk, and at which time then we will have the first opportunity to give them greetings as mourners. The traditional greeting is found on the back, right above really the special emblem of Chicago Jewish funerals. So
If I could have everyone other than Jay and Michael's sons, everyone else, the family just want to stay underneath the canopy. Everyone else, please follow me.
I'm so sorry. I was only That's what I said. Everybody left. Seems like he always did that.
If I could ask you to step over here.
Take care of that.
Sure. Gentlemen, come this way, please. Son como 5 mecates. ¿Dónde?